Hello everyone and welcome back to game number 2. It is currently one game up for CIS Rejects despite what my screen may have said. Sorry. I really had to pee and I was just like, fix overlays, go! And hopefully come back in time for game number 2. And we're here! So, it is CIS Rejects. One game up in this best of 3 for the MLG World Finals European Qualifiers. I am joined by Scan, who you've done you've done no I didn't forget your name. I was trying to think like what I was going to say because I was going to compliment you because you've been a great co-caster so far today. I know you were a little nervous starting things off, but you've done fantastic.
Cool. I'm very happy to hear that, and I'm also happy to see that there's a Lina in this game because we've seen so far today we've watched 3 games and Lina and Lesh were banned each time by the team that had second pick, and this time Lina gets through and rightly so, I guess, gets picked up first. And in response, we get all the 3 heroes picked after Lina are these like utility, fighty, tanky strength heroes that have become so common in the current metagame. It's especially notable by Alliance to start with Earthshaker and Tusk. If we compare to the previous draft, where I was saying their draft seemed to want to rely on starting ahead and then having a good game plan once you're ahead, but Chen and Nagasar and his supports just weren't very adaptable. They couldn't provide the utility they needed to once they were behind. Earthshake and Tusk are not heroes like that. These are 2 heroes that are they're going to contribute in every situation in the game. They're going to be saving people's lives. They're going to be setting up kills. They've got stuns. They've got more utility than you could ever imagine. So yeah, I guess I feel like if Alliance are going to struggle in this game, it won't be because they get to a position where they can't fight. They'll need to actually have those fights and be losing them. So
yeah,
different dynamic.
No, I completely agree. I was actually kind of perplexed as to, I was looking at the, I was thinking about Alliance, and I was thinking about which one is Admiral Bulldog more likely to run, the off-lane Earthshaker or the off-lane Tusk, because they can actually switch back and forth pretty openly. I feel like because there's a clockwork on CIS Rejects, and essentially that offlaner counters the offlane Earthshaker, you're more likely to run Tusk as the offlane. But I was just kind of thinking of which one Bulldog is more likely to be playing.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because I think I've seen him play Earthshaker, and I don't know if I've seen him play Tusk. So I agree with you. Like,
I don't think so.
It feels better to me to have the Tusk in the off lane, but it feels more Bulldog-y to have the Earthshaker in the off lane.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Then again, I don't think I've ever seen Admiral Bulldog run Earthshaker. I mean, I guess that's pretty obvious to say, since offlane Earthshaker wasn't a thing back then, and Admiral Bulldog has only just now kind of come back to the competitive pool. But I think we've only seen Admiral Bulldog play offlane Earthshaker once or twice, so maybe he does have the Tusk in his repertoire, as it were. CIS Rejects waiting on their 3rd pickup. They chose to ban away the Storm Spirit and the Wisp, once again keeping the Wisp out of the hands of the Swedish team. And we have the Phantom Lanza and Dazzle banned away by Alliance.
It's interesting to me, and it's actually kind of telling to see CIS Rejects banning the Wisp and even the Gyrocopter. Although Gyrocopter is like a widespread general pick at the moment. There's a tendency of people in the public to be like, oh, Alliance are just like trying to play an old game, they're outdated or whatever. But if you look at the heroes that their opponents ban against them, there's a respect for the heroes that Alliance like to run and used to run. And certainly their opponents very regularly seem to be suggesting there's certainly there's something there. I haven't heard a whole lot of professional players on teams say it or suggest the thing that you'll read on Reddit about, oh, Alliance like need to adapt, they must get with the times or whatever. So there's probably some kernel of truth to that. There's probably some like they need to find their way, they need to find the style that works for them right now. But I don't like these sort of dismissive claims that Alliance just like aren't good anymore and they can't play the current game. I think there's a lot of potential for them to be extremely good right now, actually.
Yeah, I think that Alliance in their first showing as a team, they actually looked. I think they looked pretty good in this like new season post TI situation. Let's see, they had their match. I think it was 4CNL. They lost that series, but there was a game. For some reason, I thought they won a game. Oh, that's right. No. It was versus Nip. That was their. Yeah. That was the game that I was kind of like, okay, Alliance actually look like pretty good because they like dominated Nip in the first game, and then I think it was either the second or third game that was super close between the two teams, and I regard like Nip as one of the teams that looks quite good right now, just because of the fact that I mean they're one of the squads that stuck together after TI and was probably still kind of practicing, whereas other teams were only just now forming and everything else. So. Alliance, Rubik, and Juggernaut, CIS, Reject, Visage, and Silencer once again for them. But going back to it, I do completely agree with you. I mean, Admirable Dog even put it on Twitter. He was just like, sometimes you have a bad game. And that is exactly what it felt like, that Alliance had a bad game on both Admirable Dog and S4 at the same time. And it was just, it just like that kind of, you can't afford both of your solo playmaking heroes to have a bad game at the same time, because then it turns into a stomp real quick.
Yeah, so presumably there's no reason to expect a bad game again. These are players of the caliber to not tilt in a professional match between games. I mean, obviously everyone can tilt, but I don't think that's an expectation of mine. And also they've changed up the draft a lot. Their draft is extremely different this game to the previous game. In fact, all 5 heroes are completely different.
Yeah.
Trivially, right? So the approach to the game is going to be significantly different. I like the idea of, remember when people used to draft Juggernauts with Syllabear, and it'd be kind of healing ward plus push power? I think Shadow Fiend can actually perform a similar role the way Shadow Fiend's played these days, the really fast mech and BKB, plus the Juggernauts, plus the healing ward, and then you've just got 3 extra supporty heroes providing utility and cover and initiation power. I actually think their draft fits nicely here, and it's maybe more standard meta. They can fight, they can contest all the lanes. Each stage of the game they could contest, actually.
But CIS Rejects, they respond with, like, I agree with you. I think the Alliance were probably looking to do this kind of like early 5-man push down towers with the SF's physical damage. They've got great sustain. But CIS Rejects, I think, just responded with even better early aggression. Like, I was looking at the Silencer and Visage, I was like, oh, that's pretty greedy supports. This early pressure from Alliance could work out. But then they chose the Wraith King, which I think easily makes up for the kind of natural greediness of their support choices, just because Wraith King is such an early game aggressive hero that's great at early team fights, that I think now CIS Rejects may actually have the advantage when it comes to these 15-minute fights.
Yeah, I think you're pretty right. Interestingly enough, I think the weakness of CIS Rejects draft is kind of similar to the weakness of Alliance's draft last game. I would say that their draft is not too good at fighting from behind. Wraith King's not like a slow recovery Midas hero. He's the get the Midas and then fast blink and blade mail. Now we're gonna fight you and you can't do anything about it kind of hero.
Yeah.
Silence is similar, right? We saw Silence on his good form last game, but if your support Silence against a position where your team's far behind, he ends up being just that ulti, like every now and then, and you also don't want that to be the case.
Are you good with warding spots? I think this ward blocks out the hard camp. It's right on the ledge.
Yes.
Like I know the edge is somewhere in this area, so
I'm pretty sure it does block it. Yeah. And it's gonna be countered right now.
Yeah. In fact, you can see the difference. I think. Like I think this is the end of the line. So like the difference left to right between the ward and the counter ward goes to show like both teams really knew exactly where the warding line was. Why do you think you want to block out that hard camp though, and not try and go for the medium camp or something like that? Because the hard camp on Radiant side is still accessible.
So I think the situation there is mostly just to get a ward at all to have vision, and like instinctively when you get a ward just for vision, not to block camps, you end up putting it like somewhere in the middle here, and those are the wards that people are very good at like recognizing. If our camps aren't blocked, we'll go counter there. So what I'm thinking is he puts the ward blocking the camp but on the other side, so that if they do counter, they still think it's just a badly placed one up here and they go counter that spot.
That makes sense.
Didn't work out though because he was kind of spotted, I think. But mid lane starting off as a 2v2 actually.
Yeah, and top lane is going to be a Tusk Juggernaut versus the Clockwork, which good set of cogs. He almost caught the Clockwork, but he managed to get a cogs to push back the Juggernaut. I'd say this is one of the much more favorable lanes for Clockwork. That being said, like him versus Juggernaut specifically. That being said, it is going to be very dangerous when Tusk has Snowball, and he's able to bring the Juggernaut inside of the cogs. Like that'll be the real hard part, because you can't always depend upon the cogs to be able to zone the Juggernaut out now.
Oh, and Rubik's here too. Clockwork's in trouble.
Yeah, they are going to go for the block out here. This should be a kill. Unless they mess out the ice shards or something, Goretz is going to be dying here. It's going to be our first blood.
Yeah, there's a scary spin and snowball combination. There's also just the Rubik, which means you can't save yourself with Cog. And we saw something similar earlier when we were casting a previous game, that Mag had to go against that Rubik Gyrocopter, and that enough was enough to hold him down. So I'm interested to see what Goretz's approach is here. Does he just tank a few deaths to get the important first early levels, or is he going to be more defensive now because he recognizes the threat to his life?
Same kind of question could be applied to Admiral Bulldog. Of course, they both have a blocking mechanism that can allow them to have a little bit easier time getting that experience. Iceberg's dead. Gets off a good Light Strike array, but he should be blocked out by the Ice Shards, and one right click from S4 will bring him right up to full souls.
Yeah, so far, we're talking about Earthshaker and Tusk, who's going to offlane, who's going to support. The support Tusk is paid for itself, I would say, at this point in the game.
Man, it's such a dangerous middle lane. Just because of the fact both the Tusk and Earthshaker can roam. Like, oftentimes offlane Earthshaker, once the creep equilibrium is really set against you, you know you're not going to be able to get experience for a little while. He'll oftentimes look for that opening to roam into the middle lane. So you could actually see in the next 2 or 3 minutes here a situation where both Tusk and Earthshaker go for the gank on this poor Lina. And they're really going to need that defensive support ready to go, but the problem is they don't have supports that respond well. Neither one of these supports actually are reactionary in any way. I don't think either one of them can be regarded as really good TP supports that are able to provide some sort of saving mechanism or some sort of turnaround kill. They're much more, I would say, passive in the laning phase, much better at harassment or pre-setup ganks than anything else.
Yeah, they're both pretty good at reacting later on in fights, with the bats and the global, but right now I believe we had Lina in trouble yet again.
Yep, Light Strike Array misses S4, Raise, and they will be able to get the kill, and there you see it. Silencer comes in, gets some damage on My Nuts, but now he's going to be blocked out by the Ice Shards. Oh, S4! He gets a one more right click, but no, it's not going to be enough, and now S4 is going to die. Oh man, that Ice Shards, that was a funky one. It like pushed him over into this tree area where he was able to eat the tree and get out.
Tower is under attack.
And I also think the Ice Shards kind of paused it toward the end. So he stayed to get that last raise to track the silencer, and it looked like he turned at a funny angle, possibly because of the shards too. So a little bit awkward, but you can't really blame the Tusk for that, I think.
Yeah, I think it was just Ice Shards is a very wonky spell sometimes. Light Strike right. Ooh, My Nuts. Gets off the Ice Shard. Oh, that was a beauty. Snags Iceberg, but S4 still needs a little bit extra health to be able to get this kill. He's bottling up. Iceberg's actually going to be able to survive. Oh, things have gone so bad for S4. He went from being able to get an early kill on the Lina, maxing out his souls, to now dying twice in a row to this Lina.
Yeah, what a hectic scenario, right? Lina took Tusk to 1 hit, and then they take Lina to 1 hit, but both cases they live, and it's the SF that actually dies. And honestly, if I'm S4, I would rather Tusk dies, I would rather Lina dies. Shadow Fiend is the one person that needs to not die there. That's now Lina, who's nearly level 6. Shadow Fiend is... No, Shadow Fiend really can't go to the lane match on his own anymore.
Got a big stack for the Lina. Clockwork is going to be caught here. Telekinesis pullback, nice set of cogs, but there's no escape. My Nuts is on the other side. And oh my god. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Ice Shards just allowed Goretz to get himself a deny on creeps. Creeps? Oh, just barely. Ice Shards, man. Ice Shards. This ability is just so hard.
Yeah. And I wanted to say before, it's not on the Tusk, but at the same time, if it keeps happening, then maybe there's something to be said for, if you've played the hero enough, you'll get used to like the funny little things it does.
Yeah. But
he started the game so well though, so I don't know, it'd be too critical of Finance. I think he started playing extremely well for the first 2 rotations.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure to what extent it's on him, but there have been 2 wonky Ice Shards that have kind of like ruined some plays now. Yeah,
for me personally, it's the first one isn't on him at all, but the second one kind of is just because it was a guaranteed kill without Ice Shards. know, it was only because there was the ice shards that bumped him over that Goretz had any opportunity to escape that much.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, why bother using the ice shards? You could make things worse. You're not going to make things any better.
Yeah. My nuts escaping away. He's going to be tracked down by I Always Want to Fly. So get to the hot camp. Go, my nuts. Go. Oh my God, it's a stack too. That means it's real easy to get yourself denied. So he just drew a lot of attention from CIS rejects and doesn't give them a kill.
Yeah, pretty incredible, and right off the Goretz just denied himself at the opposite side of the map to the neutral camp as well. So I guess the jungle creeps are on some kind of killing spree at this point. Artez, I think, is about to have a Midas, and that's a good place to be as a safe lane Wraith King. Well, he'll need to first send a term from the current, but Wraith King that gets that early Midas starts leveling once he gets to his first 1 or 2 items, usually a blink and the blade mail. It does become a situation like what you're describing earlier on, that Alliance kind of want to be able to fight, but Wraith King is like the ultimate anti-fight, we'll just fight better than you core. So the fact that he's scaling well is probably a bad sign for Alliance. As Minus is actually headed over to the stack and he's going to steal a bunch of the XP. I don't know if he'll get any of the gold. They've seen him.
Gets one. Yeah. Good read by CIS Rejects pulling the creep wave back because they saw him coming over.
Yeah, I don't actually understand how, because the Hellcaller shockwaved up at him, which I don't feel like.
That didn't even register to me, but
like
you're right.
It should shoot in the direction of where there's things grouped up, shouldn't it? So I don't know.
Yeah, and I thought they also fixed it where it wasn't supposed to shoot at what it can't see. You know, I remember those old times where it would you would run past it and it would just like throw it at you for no reason. You'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. But well, I mean, the neutral creeps in this game, they've got 2 kills and they're starting to develop AI.
Yeah.
Thinking for themselves.
Nice pick off on the clockwork in the top lane, pretty simple. Fisher and then an Omni Slash, which will set up this tier 1 tower dying, especially with S4 here.
Even so, this, I mean, yeah, it's I think too early to decide who's in control of this game or who's taking the lead. And I do think that both of these teams are capable of winning this game by coming out on top in the major fights that happen in the next 10 minutes, sort of up till the 20-minute marker. But yeah, going back to what you said initially about the Wraith King, I think I tend to agree that the team with the Wraith King has some advantage in those situations. Just at the same time, all of Tusk, Rubik, and Earthshake are like tricky heroes that one very good use of one important spell in a fight can be pretty decisive. Like, they've got incredible utility on the side of Alliance, which is a major contrast to the previous game, where the kinds of things their supports and offlane hero could do were very limited.
Oh man, 2-4 right now, 8.5 minutes in. 500 gold lead for Alliance, 2,000 experience. I'm surprised they're up by that much experience, but I guess they have gotten a number of kills. I just figured the Midas would start kicking into play now and kind of offset that experience advantage.
Loda's got... Oh yeah, he's boarding a drum. I was going to ask actually, do Juggernauts still go Mask of Madness like that 6.83 craze? Probably not. It doesn't feel like it's right anymore. It doesn't feel like you can play that hero in that style right now. You need to be able to group up and push. You need to be able to take those fights really early on, and I think especially against Lina, it's just way too risky for Mask of Madness. There's a TP, double TP in the top lane.
Yeah, they're really going to try and fight this one. They will catch Admiral Bulldog, slow him down easily enough to be able to get that 1 kill. Artez was hoping he'd be able to find more, but kill is given over to Always Want to Fly. Vanscore will give be given the opportunity to get some safe lane farm here, try and get his level 6, but Alliance, sneaky buggers that they are going to utilize this double damage, and My Nuts only being level 4, but it is good enough to have a Frozen Sigil on your hands. See if they can't sneak Rosho.
That's pretty cool. And Alliance are one of the original, these guys are some of the original innovators when it came to like cool strategies for sneaking in Rosh early on. They're going to pull out because the DD is going to run out too soon, I think, and they're getting a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
If they'd had a medallion, then they would have done the trick for sure. And actually, now Lotus here, so they're gonna try and finish it off. They've been spotted by a rocket. They're gonna probably draw the fight. The Wraith King's really far away though.
Yeah, this is still really smart. I think they knew going in that they probably couldn't just two-man it, but if they could bring it low enough and then rush it, maybe they could actually take Roshan. But sad thing is, they're not fast enough to be able to rush it. And CIS rejects are in a spot to be able to defend. So level 6 is now up on Ake. Level 6 still not up for Vanscore. Really need that global silence, I think, in these fights.
Yeah, he does really need it, but part of that also is that when he gets it, there's going to be a very, very big impact. It's something that Alliance haven't had to deal with yet. And
Iceberg, this could be big. Emerald Bulldog's being shadowed by the Visage Familiars. He didn't realize why until it's too late. Iceberg reveals himself in a flash of fire and will be able to pick up that kill.
And that's probably the mid-tower, tier 1 for CIS rejects as well. They check out the Roshan. It's not actually that low, he's about half HP. They go for it.
Oh man, this is... Both these teams trying to go for Roshan. It's kind of crazy. Roshan's just not healing up fast enough, so he's still low enough that...
Oh, they've got a medallion there.
Yeah, that's going to make all the difference in the world. S4 is up in that top lane area. Still going to try and force this fight. Pelota has been caught. Light Striker Ray gets off the spin just ahead of that Laguna Blade, and he will be able to survive because of that, but it's still the Aegis picked up by Iceberg. See if the fight still continues, though. Okay, manages to steal Global Sounds there, so he gets something out of this fight at least.
Yeah, that's a pretty big steal. It's a spell that you theoretically should never be able to steal if the Silence is diligent about it.
But Vanscore didn't go for the... he went for no levels of Curse of the Silence, so that's it. That explains a lot.
Yeah, I just mean like because your global covers you to run away or cast whatever, even just the last word. Right. More likely he's just not thinking about it in that situation, I think. And fair enough, it's not like the first thing on your mind is a silencer. You're not usually thinking about what spells would someone cast on me when you stop them from casting spells.
Yeah.
It could be big though. It definitely could be big. Just as I said that the first ulti for the silencer could be big. The first silence ulti for the Rubik
Yeah.
could definitely be big.
We'll see how they're able to pick it up. I remember in a game where I had a support silencer on my team, and he went this exact same Vanscore build. I flamed him for so long. Well, I'm sure Vanscore's not going to make this mistake, but I flamed him for so long because he kept getting global silence stolen. And we're talking like he's level 14, he's gone like the stats build, and still no level of Curse of the Silent. I'm like, dude, you have to get one level of Curse of the Silent just to throw it out. Because, Last Word has a decent cooldown to it. You don't want to be left with holding on to that build. Oh, the global silence comes out, but a little bit too late. The spin is there by Loda. Great reaction time.
It was actually his global silence. It wasn't the silence's global silence.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I initially thought the same thing, but it was actually more like he was doubly safe because he would have gone over the spin or with the global. They used both, but I guess rather be safe than sorry. It does mean that the Silencer's own global is going to be up round about now, and they've got both an Aegis and a Wraith King ulti. They're going to be very happy to push some objectives.
Trying to force out the spin here while pushing the tier 1 tower. We've got Mech on the SF Yules for the Lina. So both the mids getting their early 15-minute item. I would say relatively early, 13 minutes in, 4-4 right now. CIS rejects have picked up a lead ever since they took that fight and won Roshan for themselves. But are they really going to be able to... oh man, level 11 already on Wraith King.
I think CIS rejects looking pretty comfortable right now. To the point that if they take, 1 or 2 big fights, they'll be looking like in a strong lead. They're already in a commanding position if you look at the net worth and experience graphs. And part of that is just the Shadow Fiend, dude. He's now sending himself his mech, but up until this point, he's just had nothing the whole game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Tier 1 tower. Under attack from the Familiars. Artist finds the opening on S4. They're going to try and go for this kill. Global Silence gets laid out, covering them for this deep dive, but won't quite finish him off. Iceberg now gets the Laguna Blade stolen from him, and now he's probably going to have it turned around on him as S4 bearing his knuckles, throws it out on Iceberg, but still it's not enough damage as S4 is unable to get off his ultimate until he dies in a fiery explosion. Now Goretz gets a nice set of cogs onto Loda, which is actually going to drop him in for a little while, but the fight is going to stall out now, and it looks like CIS Rejects, despite the kind of iffy initiation where they didn't get in a quick kill like they really wanted to, still manages to kill the SF, take the tier 1 tower, and only lost the Aegis. So wasn't the fight they were really hoping for, but it was still a win.
Yeah, it's anything from like I wouldn't say they played well. I wouldn't say it was a great execution of their plan. But when you have an Aegis, when you have like a Wraith King with that ulti, you're able to make those kind of moves, which you can't see everyone. You're not sure how it's going to work out. But the worst case scenario still works out pretty well. And honestly, what just happened there is pretty close to the worst that fight could go for them. They still kill the Shadow Fiend. S4 didn't manage to get his mech off in the first fight off the Abortus, and he didn't manage to get his ulti off either, which I think pretty significant. We see a fight where S4 gets both the mech and the ulti off, and I mean, this is what Shadow Fiend's picked for, right? It's meant to be like the centerpiece of these kinds of fights.
Blade Mail soon to follow that Blink Dagger on the Wraith King.
Dire's
I'm
top
sometimes
tower
concerned
is
about
under
the item progression of the Wraith King and whether or not he's able to pick up his Blink Dagger when he goes for the Hand of Midas fast enough to be in those first couple of engagements. Because sometimes, like, if the Blink Dagger means you win an engagement, that is worth more than the Midas in Golden Experience, right? But Artez has certainly proved that this Hand of Midas is well worth it. He still gets the Blink Dagger, really good timing, immediately wins, a couple of small engagements here and there, and is now working towards that fast Blade Mail. The Hand of Midas has not slowed down his item progression build at all, essentially. He's got Blink Dagger and Blade Mail before 20 minutes.
Yeah, and the value, because of how Wraith King's ulti scales with getting that early Midas, is just so big.
Yeah.
I think any Wraith King player is always tempted to buy Midas, and then it's kind of like, is there pressure on me to not buy Midas? Do I need to get something else to be active right away? And I think in this game there wasn't really that much pressure. Then the Shadow Fiend was having a hard time. He had a very late mech. So
bottom tower has
goes for it and definitely works out.
Now double Blade Mails, actually. Clockwork about to finish his. So things are going to get real rough for Alliance now with the BKBs nowhere in sight.
Yeah, and Shadow Fiend actually, Shadow Fiend is one of those heroes I was talking about, which Blade Mail is obviously really good against him because he can't do damage in a fight without hitting the people with Blade Mail, and then it comes from his raises and his ulti mostly, not just the hits at this point in time. So you turn on those two Blade Mails and Shadow Fiend's thinking, well, what am I meant to do now?
Tier 2 tower is going to go down here without a fight. Alliance, again, realizing that they kind of lost the early game, are just going for split push and recovery.
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, trying to play a recovery game against a team that has a Midas, when you don't have any Midases, when the flash bombing here and you've seen the Shadow Fiend was actually a bit behind at the start. Lena's getting up her Aghanims, which is going to be problems for you. You've got a Silencer, Global Silence, which is problems for you. It's very tough. I feel like the split push plan here is more like delay the game rather than come back into it. To come back into it, the Alliance needs to somehow find a way to win a fight or at least get a series of kills.
Top lane, Goretz always want to fly, show their face, and go for S4, but it's a bit dangerous. Probably wise not to jump. Always one flank, gets a good drop. Stalling up the retreat, but it's still CIS Rejects gonna go for a much more calm tier 1 tower push rather than the frenetic jump for a fight.
Bulldog's about to have a blink. That could be the item to win them a fight.
Oh,
I don't know if someone else is gonna buy him a TP and they're gonna try to defend, or because he can only just barely afford the blink itself.
I think they're. Let's see, who's not here? Okay and Mina, yeah, I think they're just a bit too spread. Because
Yeah,
that
so
tier 1
maybe-
tower is... Wait, no, they don't have Glyph. I think that tier 1 tower is going to drop so fast that they won't be able to TP in with the Rubik or Tusk onto the tier 2, and I don't think they can TP onto the tier 1.
I think they might just head there anyway to defend the tier 2, because if I'm CIS Reject here, I'm not going to stop after one tower. I mean, why should I stop after one tower? They don't know about the Earthshaker dagger, and they certainly feel in control of the game, and rightly so. So maybe the plan for Lions just like drop the first tower and set up and be ready to take a fight in the second tower.
Yeah,
Who
no,
do you-
I
who do they
completely
try and
agree.
catch? Let's say ES has this blink and there's a tusk and there's a like, what's the key target for them to get a pick of? Probably the Lina. Or do they need to go on silencer actually? Someone has to control silencer.
Yeah, it's not even like if you kill the Lina and the global silence goes off, there's still plenty of damage from like Clockwork, who's real powerful right now, Wraith King for sure, super powerful, and the Visage, who deals out a good amount of damage right now just because everyone else will dish out damage, and then Soul Assumption will very easily have a lot of spam coming out. I don't think they can just pop Lina and go, all right, we're good. Because the global silence still going to hinder them, and the rest of the team will easily be able to clean up. I think you're right. I think they do have to go for silencer first.
The plan doesn't. If let's say they get the silencer, committing a whole lot of stuff, I think they lose the fight anyway. So I almost feel like they need to have maybe Bulldog on silencer duty, and he's just going to chain stun the silencer while a bunch of other people initiate on Lina and Trikiller. It's really tough though, because there's also Visage and Wraith King and Clockwork. You're not going to just stand and watch. So you have to have excellent execution to get that kind of work done, to control two heroes right at the start of a fight without everyone else responding and just like destroying you. It's a tough situation. Maybe what it takes is some bunching, because they don't know Bulldog has the blink, and that's definitely a way to turn around a game. Pretty classic, almost like a trope at this point in Dota.
Yeah.
Earthshaker gets blink and catches everyone bunched.
Well, do we know what our pause is for? Oh, lag. By the way, guys, those of you guys who are watching right now, there is another game going on right now, casted by Join Dota. Toby and Blitz are doing the defense. It is Monkey Freedom Fighters, Sing Sing's team, facing up against the Power Rangers team. So if you want to go watch yourself a Tusk Sing Sing, it looks like. That's a little weird.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just like at a loss right now. Is Sing Sing playing offlane now?
Maybe.
Yeah, because he has an Ember Spirit and an SF on his team.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time. He switched roles before, and he has played some offlane before.
And I guess they're still in kind of their infancy, where changing roles is probably very likely. So. Yeah,
one of the most common things actually for these new teams. Figure out how best to do things. And you actually mentioned it earlier. You're talking about NIP just sticking together, giving that advantage, and I think Vega's in a similar position. In fact, of the European teams I've watched so far, those are the two teams that stand out the most as like convincingly strong teams, and not really that surprising since they just kept their rosters intact and were solid teams to start with.
Yeah, so the question is, as time goes on and we start getting to these big tournaments and the majors come up, are they going to remain the strongest team, or are all these other teams who are, still kind of in their infancy, are they going to catch up and surpass NIP and Vega?
Well, certainly CIS rejects are making a pretty clear statement in this series so far. They did very well in the first game, and they're looking well on course to follow up nicely in the second game. Here's the Earthshake.
Oh, here comes a jump. Admiral Bulldog. Oh, he doesn't get a hook shot, actually. Guards comes out. Snowball, they're going to go on Iceberg now. He blinked himself away, though. Admiral Bulldog, Global Silence gets laid out. Gets the Fisher onto 3. My Nuts. Hoping to be able to survive here. Laguna Blade does take him out. Farther down, S4 lets loose his ultimate. Blade Mails. Returns some damage back on S4. Jump in. Echo Slam laid out. He's going for Iceberg, but he can't quite get him. Loda's even trying to catch up, but now they're just going to be kited around expertly. And this is gonna be real bad for Alliance. They're gonna drop S4 here. Might even lose Loda as well, as Artez is gonna be able to get the stun on him. And if the rest of the team can catch up, that's gonna be another kill. But it doesn't look like it. Loda will be the only survivor here. Still, though, a nasty, nasty fight for Alliance, and that was supposed to be their big reveal of the Blink deck.
Yeah, it's tough. It felt like there was a moment, maybe like 1 or 2 seconds, where Bulldog had an opportunity to jump. And I can't remember which heroes he couldn't see. It might be that he couldn't see the silencer, and so he was scared to jump on it. There were a few heroes banished for him to jump on. I feel like Alliance in a position where he doesn't have that luxury to hesitate though. Kind of just needs to go for whatever presents itself, and now it's kind of gone from bad to worse. They know about the blink, and I really don't know what the game plan is if you're Alliance right now. You can try to get you can try finish your S and Y on Mantis Star on your Juggernaut. You can try finish your BKB on your SF. If the enemy team is farming at the same rates, and realistically they're farming at actually a better rate, those items are just not going to have the impact you want them to have. And I almost think it doesn't come down to item pickups or the cores. I think it comes down to these three utility heroes, the Tuscan, Rubik, and Earthshaker. They need to find some playmaking, and they just need to make plays.
They know Arnis does not have reincarnation, so they'll probably try and blow him up here. Leading with the Fisher, looks like they will be able to pop him quite easily before there's a response. Very nice kill. I was just about to say, I think when you're stuck in this position, I think it's pretty obvious you need some smoke gangs. Like, you need to be able to bring back the gigantic advantage that CIS Rejects has through some pickoffs. You can't rely on like, okay, let's hope that really big team fight goes well, because unless it's just masterfully executed and CIS Rejects maybe even make a few mistakes, your net worth advantage, or rather the net worth disadvantage that you're at, is going to cost you. You're just not going to be able to win those fights anymore.
Yep.
Oh, jeez, that's an Aghanim Scepter already from Iceberg. So, warning shot right across the bow for Loda and his Juggernaut. He's going to have to play real careful around that Lina now.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to feel that comfortable split pushing on his own from now on, especially because there's a global silence that could combine, which means he couldn't do anything if they wanted to commit that. And that's the tricky thing. I agree with you that Alliance need to make some pickoffs, but in order to successfully smoke gank, you usually need to show some heroes on the map. If your entire team's off the map, then it's rare for the enemy team to fall for smoke ganks. And if someone is showing on the map while some other people smoke gank, the person showing on the map is just as likely, if not more likely, to die in this case.
Okay, so 10-5 right now. Roshan is going to be falling soon. Alliance not going to stop that one, especially not with the pretty early Solar Crest that was picked up on Always Want to Fly, and he will have an Aghanim Scepter here and another 700 gold. That's a huge upgrade for your 4 position. Level 16 is going to be coming in a number of minutes for Arlena. And obviously, Artez has already shown himself to be a beast, and it's going to start working towards AC next.
Honestly, to win a fight at this point, Alliance don't just need, I was saying, big players from these support heroes, but I think they need multiple big players. It's not enough to just get a big Echo Slam at this point. I think, Rubik needs a good steal, Tusk needs a nice touch, snowball. Quite a few things need to align. While there's that Aegis, Red King and Mina can both respawn, there's the global silence. It just feels like there's multiple waves, like barriers, that they need to get through to actually take a fight.
Are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower
S4 is getting pretty close to his BKB, and I think he doesn't want to return to base until he can get it.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's bottom tower.
And 5.
Bottom tower has fallen.
CIS Rejects.
Radiant's top tower.
Really think they definitely should push uphill with the Aegis and the Reincarnation ready to go. I mean, just that 675 damage. Juggernaut only has 1100 health. Hook shot in. Oh, that's a double stun. We'll be able to get the cogs on Ake. S4 lets loose his ultimate of his own. Actually drops pretty low, but we'll be able to heal up with the mech and actually turn. Gonna fight this one. Admirable Doug. Oh no! He messed up the Echo Slam, and maybe this fight will still go the way of CIS Rejects because of that one. Blade Mail returns a lot of damage on S4, but he starts backing himself up. So Iceberg, though, comes in with the Blink Dagger. Sing goes Artez, and they will be able to get S4 now. Buyback already out from, oh, nice snatch there. I thought they were actually blocked in from the Ice Shards, but my nuts couldn't quite get it.
So I think CIS Rejects actually lose this fight.
I think so, too. Yeah.
They're still... the snowball and catch, and actually Raven goes back in.
Oh, with the Blade Mail, he's trying to pop Admiral Bulldog here. Lena can't quite help with my nuts on the front line. Artez drops lower, and a good slash from Loda. Finishes them off. Always Want to Fly comes in from the side, trying to finish off Ake. Will be able to get that kill, but it's still trade-offs that you really don't want to be having. Blink away, Admiral Bulldog. Hoping to be able to catch up to Iceberg here. Has his blink. They know where Goretz is at.
Ready to burn.
And Goretz has a hook shot. If he can latch it, oh, he snags Admiral Bulldog, and that's a kill. So that last kill kind of makes things a little bit better for CIS Rejects, but I think we essentially saw trade-offs there. Even the beginning of that fight, they lost Reincarnation and Aegis and still only got 2 hero kills out of it. I think overall, CIS Rejects, like, maybe barely win that fight, but considering the advantage that they had, probably should have done a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's really bad with having the Aegis and the Wraith King ulti and the Global Silence up to only get that value. And it mostly goes down to where they use the Laguna Blade. Like right at the start they globaled, SF used BKB, Laguna went straight onto SF. But as he started his Requiem, everyone backed out. They didn't try and finish him, and I think you gotta go one way or the other. Either use the Laguna on him and finish him, or don't use it at all.
Well, S4 is going to be caught. That was an Invis Lina. They're going to go for the kill on Vanscore here, but the mech will actually help heal him up, and now MyNuts is going to be the one turned on. Nice blink and Light Strike Array. Iceberg's playing this game beautifully. Is he going to be able to deal with this one, though? Laguna Blade turned around. Will be able to finish off the silencer. Now Iceberg will die during that Fisher stun timing. Against that, Goretz chasing down Admiral Bulldog. This is going to be another kill, looks like, especially with Artez. Oh! Should have had another one. But his blink ended up in the trees, and he wasn't able to get the kill on Ake. They really should have.
Yeah, interesting ward, by the way, that Ake plays on his own high ground. And I don't think that's a mistake. I think they were under such pressure when their base was being pushed. You don't usually see someone placing a ward which covers a lot of vision you already naturally have. But that's the only way without leaving your base that you're able to extend the vision you have of the enemy team pushing you.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it in that situation. Why not?
Yeah. I think kind of like there's this zone. I think that's kind of the area that he kind of increased the vision to, and I think it's smart. Especially given all the initiators, 2 blink daggers, 1 hook shot. I think it does make a lot of sense, as you said, to be able to get that extra vision.
Yeah, and I just like that it shows that he's, is actually thinking, because there's all these like unwritten rules, and it's easy to become lazy and just like, oh no, I can't place a ward which is so close to my buildings. They already have vision, and he's clearly critically engaging with the game and recognizing that that's a good value ward to get in that situation. But yeah, Alliance have managed to actually like pull the game back a bit. I still think they're substantially behind, but CIS Rejects might be like a little bit less confident after they managed to, I would say, quite royally screw up what should have been a Rax push.
Push forward, tier 2. Easily taken by CIS Rejects.
Dire's top tower
It does go back to that Laguna Blade though in that original push, and I think they just need to make sure the person you use Laguna Blade on early on in the fight needs to die. Either don't use it or use it on someone and actually kill them.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Oh, you're hot. Dire's structure.
All right, Admiral Bulldog, a lot of this is going to be on his. And his blink dagger, level 2 Echo Slam.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Can he find the opening here? CIS Rejects are actually, like earlier, they were pretty grouped up. Looks like Artez will lose his reincarnation. Or not. Barely survives with only 100 HP. Might as well have lost it. Oh, Laguna Blade gets laid out. Iceberg, Yule Scepter, Admiral Bulldog going to be caught. There goes the ultimate out from the Omni Slash. Bounces back to the Clockwork. Is able to finish him off. Admiral Bulldog is the target. Big critical comes out from Artez. Able to finish him off. Artez, BKB on S4. Instantly takes out the Wraith King. And he has no reincarnation that time around. Light Striker rank gets laid out. But Alliance are easily winning this fight. They're going to be able to clean up all 5, it looks like. Disaster for CIS Rejects. 29 minutes in, and that was such a huge turnaround. I mean, that was 12,000 gold lead that they were ahead, but now that's like going to be a 6,000, like just by itself, 6,000 from the fight. That's probably a good 7,000 or 8,000 gold swing from them being able to spread out and farm the map.
You got to give big credit to Alliance for positioning well when they're defending their base, such that there isn't a very easy way for CIS Rejects to initiate or get the right pick off. And it's happened now twice in a row that Lina, Laguna Blade, the BKB SF, there's nothing to follow up and finish him off. And this fight was even worse because the Wraith King's ulti got wasted right at the start. He got caught by like the tail end of a fissure, which just like made him reincarnate nowhere near enemies, not slowing anyone. And it seems like CIS rejects are
Radiant's top tower
struggling
is
to actually
under
like come up
attack.
with a plan
I'll take that
of
as
how to like approach these situations when Alliance are positioning the way they're positioning. I would say that they still have the lead, but again, psychologically, when you have such a big lead and you fail to breach twice in a row and fail really quite horribly, it gets inside your head, and it can lead to you failing yet again.
You got to start like kind of scrambling in your head, going like, "Oh God, we had such a big lead, and we aren't able to win these fights. So what's going to happen now that Alliance have recovered so much gold, and maybe they're able to fight us outside of base? And then if they're able to win those fights, next thing you know, we're the ones being pushed in, and we've given up a gigantic lead. And that's really going to come to a head here around this next Roshan. Both teams know what's going to be coming up. I'm not sure if CIS rejects have actually scattered that out. Oh, they have rockets, so I'm sure they have. Yeah, there it goes. So they know, both teams know Roshan is up, and it's gonna come to a head here. And it may just come as Alliance aggressively push forward, trying to get some vision control around this Roshan pit. Very smart decision. And Loda actually, I think, was hoping for a quick Omni Slash pickoff somewhere, but not gonna find him.
I gotta say, S4's understanding has been really good in these fights, in these base defenses, because I think it's very easy. Enemy silencer globals, you BKB, Lina Laguna blades you to like 20% of your HP. It's very easy to react to that by panicking and running away. And he's just been standing his ground. He's got his BKB on, he mix. Even though the rest of his team's all silenced, he stands his ground, and it's making all the difference, because it just seems like CIS rejects don't know what to do when the SF, you know, isn't dead, starts rec-bombing, has BKB on, and you've already used the Luna blade.
Roshan, he's dropping real fast here. Visage Familiars are going to be able to get inside. Hookshot jump in. Oh no, Roshan is actually really low, but the Aegis is snatched. S4 managed to pick it up in the last second there. Now Loda, Global Silences fade. Gets off the Omni Slash. Looks like he'll be able to take out Always Want to Fly with the help of the S4 ultimate. Artez right in the middle of everyone. Did manage to get the cheese and finishes off the Aegis there. Oh, Goretz. Don't tell me he's going to be able to get away here. Loda was hoping to be able to find that kill. Can't quite get it. As the Glimmer Cape keeps him alive, now Artez trying to get out of this fight. Both him and the Clockwork, only survivors here. Another Blink Dagger up, 4 seconds time, but S4 is keeping his pace. He really needs to change proc, and he actually got it. This will slow down Artez long enough that they continually stop that Blink Dagger. And unless he gets a really clutch Blink Dagger TP out in time, then no way. So Artez is dead as well. Snatching the cheese was nice, but they needed that Aegis so badly. If they managed to kill S4 there permanently early on in that team fight, I think they actually would have won it, or at least drawn even. But now it's going to be Alliance pressing forward, and they've just recovered so much gold in the space of 5 minutes. 12,000 gold lead has been completely undone.
Alliance are actually winning now.
Radiant's bottom tower
They're
has
winning, and the
fallen.
Wraith King is probably going to be forced to buy back here. I don't think that we have enough to slow down Alliance if he doesn't. Looks like he really doesn't want to. Might be a mistake if he doesn't buy back and his team loses some heroes before he casts one.
Yeah, they're poking and prodding to S4. Sorry, Shards, but 15 seconds. Alliance are definitely going to start really aggressively pushing down this tower. With the Wraith King knowing he's not going to buy back now. They're going to jump on Iceberg. BKB activated though. Light Strike Ray blows up Admiral Bulldog. No chance for him. And S4 actually takes so much damage both from the Blade Mail and the Familiars. Loda's going to be caught here. Goretz doesn't actually have the cogs, so never mind. Maybe Loda can escape. His fast movement speed is keeping him one step ahead of these heroes. Blink up in a second though. Blink forward. Who's he going to be able to catch it? Iceberg, he gets it. Is there a spin? Not yet. So he goes down. Left-hand side, My Nuts. 4 staff over. Blink up in a second though. Artez will be able to catch him. My Nuts also going to get dropped. 22 to 20, 34 minutes in. And seems like pushing base is kind of the turnaround here for both teams. Like Alliance defends successfully 2 times in a row, but the moment they try and push uphill against CIS rejects, they get pushed back pretty hard.
Yeah, it's a dynamic we've seen for over a year now in Dota, the way it's been. High grounding is something altogether different from being ahead. You can be as far ahead as you want,
towers are
you
fortified.
haven't like exhausted all the skills and all the things you need to do to win a game of Dota until you've actually done the high grounding itself, and that is itself, you know, there's a skill to it.
Well, tier 3 tower, man, it's not even low. The familiars will chip it down though, and with the AC aura as well, familiar's able to do so much work.
I also think, I mean, that push that Alliance made there, which backfired, there's something in their head there as well, because their AP is not full.
Oh, S4, they're gonna pop him! Oh no, we didn't get the cogs pushback. That little bit of stun timing would have been enough to kill S4, but now he's gonna be able to survive. And the fight, well, they're just gonna go for the tier 3 tower, but here comes Admiral Bulldog. He has Echo Slam, wants to be able to make the initiation. Lotus come in. Starts going for the spin, goes straight for Vanscore as best he can. S4 healed up, but Artez right in the middle of everything is going to be blown up by S4's ultimate. That's just going to be life number 1, though. Visage Nuke comes out, finishes off the Rubik. The Familiars are still alive. Artez comes back, Familiar drops, trying to help save him, but they don't get dropped at all. Still on cooldown. Goretz trying to escape 2 ice shards. Good set of cogs actually keep him alive. But again, pushing uphill proves to be just the worst possible thing a team could do right now.
Honestly, at this point, I think Alliance are quite far ahead.
Yeah.
I think even after that fight they lost to bot lane, I wanted to say before that fight broke out, I think the issue there is that because Wraithking is not buying back, it's almost like, it sounds so childish, but it's like, how dare he disrespect us by not buying back? We need to get something here. And they like kind of overforced the situation. And I think overforcing a situation at an enemy high ground is always dangerous. It's just, you know, you're playing into their hands because you're trying to make sure you get some value, which is not necessarily there in a situation that's already dangerous for you. I think Alliance though have a history of being good at learning from that kind of thing and dealing with that kind of thing, and I'd be surprised if they get into position again this game where they're near the enemy base and they let the pressure get to them and overforce something. So honestly, I think Alliance in a strong position now.
Real quick question. Did Iceberg light strike Array when they went onto the SF? Or did he just blink forward and Laguna Blade?
I think he just Laguna Blade.
Yeah, I think so too, because otherwise the cogs would have definitely been there in time in order to get the pushback. That feels like such a blunder, looking back on it in hindsight, right? Because him being able to get off the BKB allows him to barely survive, then he comes back into the fight, and he just becomes a total menace every single time. They're going for S4, but every single time they're just barely off the mark.
Yeah, I suppose he doesn't back himself to get it off on time before the BKB, but I think he could have. I think I agree with you, and yeah, S4 is kind of in the center of it. Like all of these fights that we keep seeing CIS Rejects losing, they make some serious attempt to deal with the Shadow Fiend, but don't quite deal with it, and that's just the worst of both worlds. They could have been, you know, dealing with other people or dealing with him correctly, but to deal with him but not kill him. Yeah, they've made the mistake one too many times in my opinion, and I think it's now on Alliance to make some kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
Whilst the game looks good for them.
Yeah, I mean, excluding the silencer, I really feel like Alliance scale into the late game much stronger. I really side with the Juggernaut over the Wraith King, and with Juggernaut with this much of a farm lead over the Wraith King, like he has one full item ahead of him. He's gonna have the Abyssal Blade. Oh wait. Is he?
Getting Manta.
No, he's getting Manta, you're right.
For the global silence, I guess.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Manta, do you think he changes puts the Sage into anything? Like, does he actually go Halberd, or do you think he just sells the Sage?
I don't think he'll go Halberd, but he could go for the Silver Edge. That's not too bad. I'm not sure what he's is there anything really to disable with
it? Would destroy the Visage, the Gravekeeper's cloak, but I think that's really it. There's the Lina. People always remark the Fiery Soul, but I don't think that's really a factor, because if you get onto the Lina with that Silver Edge and you're hitting him, I don't think the Fiery Soul is going to mean much, because it's more of an offensive situation, right? And if Juggernaut's on top of Lina, you're in a defensive scenario as a Lina.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think if he does choose to go for the Silver Edge with that Sage, it's mostly just for the Shadow Blade. It's like I happen to have a Sage. Shadow Blade's a pretty good item on Juggernauts. Especially if you, like, as a surprise, have it all of a sudden in a game where the enemy team had no need to have constant detection. And you could, you know, in one particular fight, it's almost like the Earthshaker blink. Just like suddenly reveal, hey, I've got Silver Edge, and get into a great position in a fight.
Oh, this could be real big. Lotus just popped his Manta. If they get this fight, they win this one.
If he gets global now.
Yeah. All right, Goretz gets revealed, jumps on Admiral Bulldog, who was invis, but the Cogs push back. That's the setup they need. He gets a quick bash, and Loda gets exploded. Now the Shiva's slowing down every single kind of response. Buyback already. S4's battling it out. They will have the Juggernaut coming back in, but not in time to save S4. It looks like no. Satanic's actually keeping alive until he gets chain stun. He's going to be taken out. And Omni Slash, it's still not here, and I don't think it's going to, as the rest of the team has already been dropped, and they have no buybacks. Oh, CIS Rejects just found a huge opening in the Alliance armor. They seemed completely ready to go in every single defense, but one smoke gang turns things around very dramatically.
And I don't even know how much they get just because they don't have creeps near the base. They're on buybacks, but they should get a set of racks. Maybe 2. It's funny that this game feels a lot like game 2 of the previous series as well, which was kind of quite dramatically back and forth toward the end.
Oh yeah.
And we said it. Loda used his Manta Star, the global control, and then he couldn't use it. And all of a sudden, that problem we saw with them dealing with S4 wasn't the problem. The Juggernaut's dead before they had to deal with the Shadow Fiend. They're a lot more confident to fight into it.
Still maybe a fight around this Rax. If they want to fight 4 versus 5. That would seem like a very foolish maneuver when you could just give up the mid lane of Rax and call it a day.
I wonder, are CIS Rejects happy with just one lane? Nope.
Oh, they want to get Loda here. Force Staff actually buys them a little bit of time. They're still going to go for this kill. Another Force Staff Manta actually. And they will get out. And now CIS Rejects are actually overextended, especially with the SF coming back in. He's going to TP on the front lines. Admiral Bulldog leading the charge. It gets the Echo Slam on. Always want to fly. Enchant Totem onto 2. Fisher as well. Over the top. They're going to be able to take out at least Iceberg. There goes the bounce around. Goretz is going to be able to help survive through that one. Thanks in part to the Glimmer Cape. Artez, though, locked down by Loda. Does not have a reincarnation. S4 just lets loose that ultimate. Blows up the Wraith King. And CIS Rejects. Hubris. Excitement. Overconfidence, I don't know what it was, but them choosing to go for more than just one lane of Rax there and go for the pickoff on Loda ends up costing them big time. You could see what it was. If they kill Loda and he does not have buyback, the game is potentially just won right there. But Alliance just do a really great job defending Loda, who's already tanky as all hell. And now it's going to be Roshan to the favor of Alliance.
Yeah, you can see the appeal. It's not just that they can win the game right there, he doesn't have buyback. Think about how much they've been struggling to actually go high ground get objections in this game. So the fact that there's an opportunity to just end it all now and not have to deal with that problem again, I think that's the appeal there. And I think that they, unfortunately for them, if they coordinated a bit better, it looked to me like maybe they could actually kill Loda there. I think it was a kind of last minute decision. Lina blinked in and hexed, and everyone just had to react. But also with the Earthshaker Rubik Tusk, that specific like supporting outfit is really good at keeping the Juggernaut alive for a while. With the Tusk to put him in a snowball, you got the fissure. So definitely the safer play for them to go back there, and now they'll be the ones kicking themselves.
Smoke Alliance. They're going to force this fight. Always on a fly on the front lines. Global Silence gets laid out. Manta instantly popped. And S4 does have a BKB as well as keys ready to go. So that Global Silence really doesn't do anything for them. Top lane is pushing in by the Familiars. Just a small note while we have this standoff here. Bottom lane, they S4. Still on the front lines here. The Cheese, Satanic, and BKB. He feels so confident. Gonna try and jump him now. Looks like a lot of damage, brings him down to half HP. Good Fisher, and actually separates Always Want to Fly. He's probably gonna die here. Trying to get out. Glimmer Cape Force Staff actually will save him. The ultimate out from the SF. Chases away a lot of CIS Rejects. Looks like they're gonna lose their range Rax. Just try and catch something on the way out. Goretz leading the way there with the Blade Mail. Jump on S4. Echo Slam gets laid out. Rambo Bulldog with the BKB. He's already activated by Iceberg. The ultimate out on the Slash will manage to finish up the clockwork, but now Loda gets stunned up. He's maybe going to be locked down. Shiva's, and he loses it. There goes that Aegis. Ake's the next target. He will be going down. Now they just got to try and stop Loda. Always want to fly. He's actually going to be taken out by Loda. The Scotty slows him down enough, but Loda is very much dead here. There's no response. And oh boy, Admiral Bulldog almost didn't get out there as well. That was almost a wipe the other way around. So again, Rax goes down, and the team pushing in immediately loses. Now Admiral Bulldog's going to be caught. Light Strike Array. Pew, pew, pew. Iceberg gets yet another kill. That's a wipe. No buyback on SF. No buyback on. With the top lane, the tier 3 already down thanks to the familiar split push. They can go ahead and take a second lane of Rax, or they can just go full throw. Like,
I gotta say, with the kills that mattered, like right here near the end of the game, suddenly CIS Rejects getting their execution right. In the previous fight, they killed the Juggernauts before you could do anything. He had to buy back that fight near Rush. And in this fight, they killed the Shadow Fiend before you could use Cheers. So just the execution, which they were struggling with initially when they were far ahead at the start, they're getting it right now that everything's on the line.
You know what's funny? SF didn't have buyback because he was missing 250 gold. And this may mean the full lane of Rax could be Mega Creeps coming out. Lina, Global Silence actually going to help save him. Artez does have the reincarnation, so he's good on the front line. Now the Tusk buys back immediately, but all they have left is this melee Rax, and it looks like CIS Rejects are going to go all in for it. Admiral Bulldog desperate to be able to stop this damage, but already BKB on Iceberg once again, and he just starts right-clicking away. It's actually really going to gun for Admiral Bulldog, but oh my goodness, that actually Talisman is helping keeping him alive. Meanwhile, the rest of the team going at it. As for right in the middle of all this, gets off the cheese, but his secondary life is going to be going down anyway. Good Cogs push back, and My Nuts goes down as well. Admiral Bulldog dies to Lina and gets the Rubik as well. Iceberg completes the set, and Alliance lose the series 2-0.
Yep, Alliance, I mean, they did better showing in this game than the previous one, and I think they did very well to defend their high ground. They made it very awkward for CIS Rejects to finish up the game with an early lead. So it's good. It's a good showing by Alliance to come back into that game that way. But then once they themselves took the lead, to throw it away, and a lot of it does come down to that one small play that Loda made, using their Manta style prematurely, not knowing where the enemy team was, getting caught out in that first fight. I think if that doesn't happen, Alliance were in a strong position to even out the series.
Well done, CIS Rejects. Great premiere for them, as this team kind of cobbled together. Always Want to Fly, Vanscore, Icepeg, Artez, and Goretz. Some names that you probably recognize from the CIS region, especially Vanscore and Always Want to Fly. Cobbling this team together, a great start, taking down an opponent like Alliance, while Alliance, certainly not the debut in MLG that they were hoping for, are going to be knocked out right away. But we have plenty more MLG World Finals European qualifier action that's going to be coming up. Tomorrow, I believe, we have Funthungs versus Monkey. Which monkey is that? Is that Monkey Business, or is that? Yeah, the Monkey Business. So Kuro versus No Tail. And before that, we have Monkey Freedom Fighter, Sing Sing's team, versus Na'Vi. So a lot of big names that are going to be happening right here on the MLG channel. We're going to be trying to keep every single day 2 best-of-3s. So we're instantly going to go into the quarterfinals after that, and next thing you know it, we'll be on the 19th of September where we have the finals, which I believe is going to be a best-of-5. So definitely be sure to tune in for all of this great action here on MLG TV. I want to give a big shout-out to Scan, who joined me for these 2 series and was a fantastic co-caster. You got any shout-outs for yourself, man?
No, not really, except to Vanscore's support silencer, because we spoke about not seeing it winning match, and he won twice in a row.
He did indeed. The 4 position, I will add a star now to my claim that 4 position silencer is just never winning when it comes to my cast. Now, Vanscore gets an exception. He gets the only exception it is.
Yeah, so shout out to him. That's my shout out.
All right. Well done, guys. Go watch the defense. We also have Join Dota ESL that's going to be starting in an hour's time. That is going to be the NA region, so Mischief versus High Council of Wizards and Priests is going to be the first game here. Lots of casting here at Join Dota. So just check out joindota.com if you ever want to know what's going to be happening in the evening. There'll probably be at least 2 streams going on.